Episode 63 in the building, man. Figuring
Yeah.
shit out. Frank got me running the point, y'all. So y'all know what time it is. It's gonna be kind of fast. It's gonna be kind of loud. But y'all know what time it is. We got a good one for you today, man. We got a person from over the side of the pond, right? This is our second international interview. So we getting out there, boy. Yeah. So don't forget Unified Thrive. Frank, what's going on with you, bro?
Not much. You already know what it is. Check out cyberbunny.com, loserperspective.com. Not as much has changed. And who we got going on? What's going on today? Who we got?
Yeah, we got Mr. James Collier here, co-founder of Huel. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time. He's coming from, like I said, the other side of the pond, so this is going to be unique. And so we usually start all our shows off with the question of, what was your figuring shit out moment?
Pleased to be here, guys. Thanks for having me. It's just coming into nighttime here in the UK. But what's my figuring shit out moment? Okay. I think look, back in 2016, I was quite ill. Had out of the blue, got an infection on my spine that put me in hospital for a few weeks.
Wow.
The good thing it presented with a bad back, but turned out to be an infection. So got rushed in. For a few days, I thought it was critical, but then actually we realized, yes, with treatment, the prognosis is really good. But while I was lying there, I was in a lot of pain for a few weeks, but I knew there was an end to it. But you still reflect and you think, well, I'm getting this for a short period of time. Some people go through this sort of stuff longer term. And then sort of came out of there. A few months, I was on all the painkillers and opioids and stuff, which messed with your head a bit. But then went into a bit of a depression after that when I came off them, obviously, because they were kind of, in one way, fun to be on. And then, and it was probably after that, really, I started to figure shit out.
Nice. So you was in the hospital, you had sickness. Did it run its course, or did you do anything, I guess, did you clean up your diet or anything to get over that? Or was it just one of those things that, you don't have to go into details if you don't want?
That's fine. That's cool. No, it was just a Staph aureus infection on my spine that was idiopathic. So that means they don't know quite how it came, but it was probably jumped in while I had a lung infection. Maybe my body was dealing with the viral infection and it jumped in and the bacteria did what they did. Abscesses formed, did what they're supposed to do, right? That's what abscesses do. They block the infection. I lost about 3 stone, which when you're someone that works out in the gym was soul destroying. It's 3 stone in 2 weeks. Sorry, you guys don't think it's, but I'm speaking English again, aren't I? So 14 pounds in a stone. So
I was just about to ask. Okay.
Yeah, over 40 pounds in about 3 weeks.
Wow.
So that wasn't so good. Yeah. And then, it was all treated conservatively. That's what I mean by drugs. The doctor just used drugs and just rest and trying to get mobile again, which took about 5 months properly.
Can you talk about Huel? Like, what is Huel? Can you give us a background on what it's about and what its mission is?
Okay. So Huel, we make complete foods. Okay, let me explain what we mean by that. They are foods that basically have all the nutrition in that you need, not just for basic requirements, but for optimal health. Now, they're also based on affordability, convenience. So our mission statement is, as you asked for it, is to make nutritionally complete, affordable food with minimal impact on animals and the environment. Ooh. So our initial product was the Huel powder, which was in the white pouch. That's been around. That was 8 years ago that we launched with that. But since then, we've got RTD, ready to drink, bottled versions of Huel that is available in a lot of the supermarkets and stores and petrol stations, or as you guys will call them, gas stations here in here in the UK now. And we're just starting to make a presence around some of the stores in New York area. And across some other countries of Europe as well. We've also got other versions of the powdered product, which have different macro ratios. Now, what do I mean by macro ratios? You've got proteins, fats, carbs, and fiber. They're the macronutrients, and you have them in different ratios. By that, I mean a different proportion of your energy intake, or the energy intake of that product, comes from either protein, fats, or carbs. So the first Huel product, the white pouches, was 40% from carbs, of which of that 3% was fiber, 30% from protein, and 30% from essential fats. And then as well as that, you've got all the 27 essential vitamins and minerals in optimal amounts. So they're the two main powder products, and I've mentioned the ready to drink. Then we've also got the hot and savory, which we brought about 3 years ago, which are either grain-based or pasta-based. And I know that you guys have tried some of those, and they're because a lot of people, our main target is everybody, every adult, busy people on a budget, people who want to optimize their nutrition. But we realize that powdered food isn't for everyone, or liquid drinks. So, I mean, we've had a bar out as well for a few years, but that hasn't really taken off, especially in America. So we thought we'll have something hot and savory. Is you're basically grain-based or pasta-based, and you mix them with water, put in a microwave, leave for 5 minutes, and then you've got a meal you eat with a spoon. It goes down a lot better.
I want to say, like, when you started up with the complete nutrient, right? That's one thing that kind of gravitated me to the product. I think I was watching the founder, and he was saying that, and I was like, that sounds like something I want to be a part of, right? Because I'm a salad eater, I'm a smoothie drinker, I'm a fruit muncher, right? And we just kind of, I'm eating orange right now. We all got, my wife is on her no meat, right? And she's been maybe 90 days or so counting, and that made me cut my meat down, drastically, actually. So that, like I said, that was one of the main reasons why I got it. We tried almost everything. Like you said, the bar, I don't think it was for me, but the powders, right? They're really easy to consume, very easy to mix up on the go. So but I thought I was gonna. So my thing was, like, I've been telling Frank, I was trying to gain weight, but it wasn't what I was consuming. It was the amount of which I was consuming it and the rate at which I was burning it off, right? So that's what I was trying to correlate. And still to this day, I just don't eat enough, right? I'm strong. I do my workout. I'm flexible, right? I just don't eat enough.
Yeah. So has Huel made that a little bit easier for you?
No, because like I said, the amount of food if I eat a smoothie, if I drink a smoothie and I eat a breakfast, it'll make me too full. So I kind of graze over lunch, and then dinner I'll eat again, right? And so, so for me to gain weight, I would have to increase maybe an extra smoothie a day, right? An extra 400, 500 calories to meet my goals for weight gain.
So I think I heard you say something about it is this can this be used as a meal replacement? Like if you're trying to get fit, trying to lose weight, instead of eating meal or whatever you normally eat, you can substitute one of these drinks for a meal. Is that optimal?
Yeah, I mean, yes, essentially. I mean, we don't use the term meal replacement. We use the complete food, because we don't see Huel as a meal replacement in the same way you would say, well, I'm not going to have a burger and chips tonight, I'm going to replace it with a pizza. You'd say, I'm going to have a burger and fries or a pizza, or
I think I would say
burger and fries, pizza, or a Huel drink. So it's food in powdered form, complete food, which is the sort of the category that's sort of only a few years old, which is the clues in the name. It's food that's complete. So it's either a meal, or in the case of the bars, a snack, or some of it. We've also got a complete protein, which is primarily protein, but it's got all the vitamins and minerals and fiber and essential fat in as well. So it's unlike other protein drinks. But like I say, Huel products are for everybody. They're for busy people who want something that's good for them, that's reasonably priced, it's convenient, and maybe we still want people to have some of their regular meals. Eating as a family with friends is brilliant. There are health benefits from that have been well researched. Just the act of eating with other people, but a lot of people don't do that. So maybe a Huel product will suit their lunchtime or their breakfast or snack, maybe only a couple of times a week. Right? The beauty of Huel products, you have as much or as little as you like to suit you.
Nice. Right. You said it's not a meal replacement. You said complete meal, right?
Yeah,
complete food.
Complete food.
Complete food. Complete food.
But people do refer to us as meal replacement. So I guess if that's what people are saying, then we might have to just go with that sometimes.
Well, I mean, I'm all for changing the psyche, and if it's going to make me understand it better, I should use the correct terminology. I am somebody who, like I said, I do fad diets all the time. Not that this is a fad diet, this is like a lifestyle product. But I've been up and down. I did keto. I'll lose 30, 40 pounds in 2 weeks or less. I know that's probably not safe. So I've done those things where, let me do this and I'll stick to it for a good month or two and I'll get the results and then I'll get complacent and I'll plateau and then I'll go right back to whatever I was doing.
Like all of us.
Yeah, that's pretty much my thing. So I'm gonna try. I know King's been on it. So I'm gonna take a look at it. I know you got shirts,
So
you got
go
bottles,
ahead.
all
So
this
why
stuff.
you looking that up, right? So I
Yeah.
want to ask about the complete nutrients of, right, the 27 essential minerals, is it,
The
that we
vitamins and
need every day?
minerals, or vitamins and minerals, sorry.
Vitamins and minerals that we need every day, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's what drew me into it, right? Can you talk about that a little bit and why it's important?
Yeah, so the body, there's 27 of the essential, 27 of vitamins and minerals are essential. Incidentally, we only say there's 26 in Europe because one of them is essential in America, but not over here. And yeah, that's weird, I know. That's because technically the body can synthesize choline. This is choline. Some people call it vitamin B4. The body can synthesize it, but it can't synthesize it enough. So I think you guys have got it right. I think it should be an essential vitamin along with them. So there's 27. That's vitamin A, all the B vitamins, C, E, K, and then electrolytes like potassium and chloride and magnesium, and then calcium and iron and copper and molybdenum and a bunch of others. And they have to be at a certain level per portion, per serving, for us to be able to say it's a complete food, and I to be able to, if we call it out and talk about it. But also, that's the legal side of it. But we also have a certain amount. We base all our product development on 2,000 calories. So if one were to consume 2,000 calories of Huel products a day, they would have more than enough of all the nutrients. Now, we're definitely not saying that's what people should do. They shouldn't have, 2,000 calories a day. I'm just saying that's how we base it. That's how we develop the products, based on that sort of premise. So then you could use different products. Now, there are a few people who do have 100% Huel powders and do really well on it. We just don't advocate it for the reasons I alluded to earlier. Like some people, we've got to enjoy a meal times, enjoy food. Having a varied diet is a really good thing. But yeah, and incidentally, we did run a peer-reviewed trial study last year. We had a published paper in one of the journals that looked at 30 people who, for a month, had 100% Huel powder, and we looked at their blood markers and various other measurements. And all we were trying to do was show that Huel is fine. We weren't trying to show that it was necessarily any better. But some of the markers, everybody's cholesterol dropped. Everybody's or the average weight dropped, the cholesterol improved. Bunch of the vitamins and minerals we tested B12, for instance, because we know that vegans are susceptible to not having enough B12. That was more than fine. Vitamin D, of course, that can be affected by sunlight as well. So the time of year we took the readings, we've got to be cautious of that. Potassium, and a couple of others we looked at, and everything was at least fine or improved.
Nice. So you said it was 30 days, just 1 month?
Yeah, and that was done. Yeah,
and as far as like the people, I know you checked them before. Would you consider them unhealthy, or did you get all type of people, or did you try to get people that maybe had some problems to see to gauge the level of improvement over 30 days?
Yeah, that's a great question. Now, the subjects were just sort of random, the people who enrolled on the study. I mean, it was actually done with Newcastle University, which is the northeast of England. They've got a nutrition research centre there. So it was independent from, we did fund the study, of course, but we didn't run it, and it still went through the peer reviewed process, right? So it can't be any bias in it.
Right.
Yeah, they were, I mean, the subjects were basically students from the university, right? Who all different, all different shapes and sizes, although they probably were younger people.
Are you looking for a media agency that covers all the creative tasks that make a business successful? Lucid Perspective produces elegant, high-resolution graphics and logos, high-definition and 4K video, complete with treatment concepts and innovative editing. Lucid Perspective provides photography services such as fashion, advertisements, product or service, and aerial photography. We also help businesses build their brands from the ground up with complete campaigns that will make your business attractive to your target audience. We can bring your brand to the masses with our effective and strategic marketing campaigns to include sales funnels, eye-catching advertisements, breakthrough digital marketing through social media, and other digital avenues. Visit lucidperspective.com today. Right, because I guess like the reason I ask, because I would be interested in, like, let's say if there was a group of people, not necessarily in the best shape, but maybe had some type of issues. I don't know, nothing crazy, but maybe diabetes, or maybe, things that most of us ail from, and then put them on a 30-day, getting the complete meal, getting all the vitamins, getting all the nutrients, and to see the level of improvement from there. I think that would be super dope. Have you seen, can you speak on any instances where, using the Huel product, it does, I don't want to say cure, but improve maybe more serious ailments within people, to speak
So,
of?
I mean, really serious things, I couldn't really comment on. I mean, we have had a lot of type 1 and type 2 diabetics that have Huel regularly. So another test that we've done is something that's called glycemic index. Are you guys familiar with that term? Shall I explain it?
Yeah, you go
Might
explain
as
it for
well.
us.
Yeah, figured
We figure shit out.
I'll explain it for the listeners. So the glycemic index, or GI, is the rate of any carbohydrate containing food from when you consume it to how it causes a rise in blood sugar level. So, and there's been, hundreds of different foods and meals have been tested for the glycemic index. Well, we had all our main products tested for the GI as well. We have done independently at another university, and basically they give a load of people a Huel meal, and they measure the blood sugar level and just look at the glycemic index because of that. And all of our products are low GI. Now, what that means, low GI means it causes a slow, sustained increase in blood sugar level. Rather than if you had a load of sugary sweets, you get a massive spike. So that's bad for diabetes, bad for everybody, but especially bad for diabetics. But it shows that there's a sustained increase in energy. So this is where it can be helpful to fuel people.
Right.
What helps keep people satisfied, satiated, not full up. There's a lot more to just the GI, but that's one factor. So in theory, yes. And the guys that did the research for us in Newcastle have actually done a proposal. They want to do a trial with diabetics, just to indicate that more primary prevention, right? But they want to hit the target before they're on any significant treatment, type 2 diabetes. So that's being spoken about at the moment. It would be great if it gets over the line, but they've got to apply for research grants, etc. And
the reason I ask is because when it comes to diseases such as diabetes, we know it's for 85-95% attributed to diet. Right. So like if you take someone who's eating crap and then they start getting the nutrients their body is supposed to get, you will see all those type of things reverse, generally. So that's why I'm asking. I'm interested.
Yeah, so diet's a big factor, but obviously the etiology of diabetes is complex. It can be related to stress, and it can be related to socioeconomic factors, can be related to obviously lack of physical activity is a big one. And your genetics as well, because we all have different capabilities of dealing with body fat and the nutrients, and it's the type of nutrients you have. So yeah, there's a lot of overlapping, but yeah, diet is a big thing, of course.
Yeah, no, that's facts. I think diet, especially over here in America. I mean, we ain't gonna get into it, but America, like I don't know what they say about us over there, but we got problems over here when it comes to diet.
There's a lot of problems over here as well. Don't worry, we've got big health crisis.
We're in the same boat. Okay.
Unify and thrive. Hey, that's what I'm on. That's what we about, man. Unify and thrive, please. So since we own nutrition, right, and I know you're a nutritionist, right? So talk about the importance of like intaking a decent meal, right? We know we just talked about, the diabetes and other things that happen, but like from the longevity standpoint and how it kind of like, how'd you get into nutrition?
How did I get into nutrition? Okay. I went back to university a long time ago, back in the early 90s. I did my degree in nutrition and dietetics. So I graduated in 95. I know you guys are looking at me now thinking you can't believe I'm that old. I can see it in your eyes.
That's not true. You look very young. I mean, I was
Yeah.
born in 84, so I don't know. Take that. I was 10 when you was graduating.
And
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
87, so I was 7.
Yeah. So yeah, I graduated in nutrition and dietetics. Then I went to work as a clinical dietitian in hospitals in the UK National Health Service. Did that for 7 years over a couple of hospitals, and I'd help people on wards with tube feeds, you know, the nasogastric tubes or the peg tubes who can't swallow or got other
Right.
issues, as well as doing weight loss clinics, food intolerance, and a multitude of other stuff. Great experience. Then I started to go I was also a freelance dietitian and nutritionist, where I'd see people face-to-face advice. Then I started doing online diet advice back in 2001, and I started a bodybuilding and fitness discussion forum called muscletalk.co.uk, and it was really quite big at the time. This was the early noughties, and it was before social media. It was when forums and boards, message boards were a thing.
Like
we kind of hit it at the right time, and
Mm.
we funded that by advertising and me doing my services, etc. And that went on for years, really. But all the time I was doing my nutrition consultancy, where I do any work I can get within my skill set. So sometimes I'll be working with care homes for the elderly, doing their meal plans for the institution, or I'd be seeing a lot of obviously face-to-face advice. I do talks, I do writing, whatever really. But yeah, I got into nutrition. So I haven't really answered your question. I'm conscious of that. I said that's what I did when I got into nutrition, but
Right.
I've been asked this before, and I think there's 2 reasons. The first one is when I was about 8, my mum was diagnosed with terminal breast cancer. And this was back in the 80s, 1980 we're talking now. Now I've given my age away. And she was apparently, unbeknown to me back then, wasn't given very long to live. But she started, looking at life in a different way and changed her diet. So, and she followed a certain regime. Now, a lot of the stuff she did was actually the sort of thing I fight against now, called a lot of pseudoscience, but there was still a lot of good nutrition she had. And the very fact that it was always around the dinner table, there was a focus on what we eat. I was always fed good meals. I was taught about nutrition around the dinner table more than I was in school, etc. So that was half the reason. The other reason was, as a kid, I was kind of bullied. And I know we all are, right? We all are, but it affected me more than others. And when I got to 15, 16, I thought, right, my mate was a couple of years older than me, good friend. He started training and started getting bit muscles. So I thought, well, I want a bit of that. So I started going to the gym at 16, and I just haven't stopped since, apart from that period when I wasn't very well. I basically trained for the rest of my life. And when you're younger, when you're in your late teens, you think, what can I do to get bigger muscles? And knowledge is power and all that stuff. I thought, why don't I go and study this at uni? And especially with nutrition already being a thing from my mother. So, and then my mum, she survived 11 years, and she saw me get to uni to study nutrition, and she passed away at the end of my first year. Yeah, my first year. So she saw it, right? So it was cool.
Nice. Yeah. No, that's good. That's
dope. Sorry for your loss, but I'm glad you got to get that experience, right? And it helped. I'm sure it was a driving force. I'm sure she's proud. How did you get connected with Huel and being their nutritionist, right?
That kind of leads nicely on from what I've just been saying, really. So I was doing all the consultancy work I could get, and then in 2014 I got an email from a guy called Julian Hearn, who he had this great idea for this product type. Because he'd been doing, it was his idea, and he'd already made some money on a first business, and then he was trying his second venture, which was sort of a diet comparison site where he would try different diets. And he was following this regime where he was making all his food every day, weighing it, and it was a real pain in the ass for him. Apart from one thing, the protein shakes he was making were quite easy. So as I know Julian now, how his brain works, he's a very logical thinker. Why can't I do everything in a shaker? So he sent some emails out to 2 or 3 nutritionists that he found on a Google search, of which I was one of them, and commissioned me to come up with a formula, worked on it for a few weeks. And then we sort of started working together a bit more over that year, basically trying to find somewhere to blend this recipe up for us. And in June 2015, we started, and we thought we'd call it Huel, which is a portmanteau for human fuel.
Nice.
And we launched. In the first week of launch, he said, look, I think I want to do this a bit of a business. And he said, I need someone to come on board with me. Do you want to be my co-founder? And I said, yes, please, immediately. And because it was kind of timely, some of my other businesses weren't doing so well. Muscle Talk wasn't doing well because social media had come and stolen a lot of our advertising revenue, and we hadn't kept up with it. I needed a change in my life, and the timing was very good. And so there was just Julian, who's the principal founder, and me as co-founder for a few months, and then we've built up. Now we've got over 250 people work for us. And this is 8 years, and we've got office in. The main office is in a small town in the UK that you won't have heard of called Tring in Hertfordshire. We've also got a London office. We've got a Birmingham office. We've got a New York office, probably not too far away from you guys. Don't ask me where it is. I've not been. And we've just opening a German office as well last week for an expansion.
Wow, business is booming. It looks good. King, how did you come across you? Because I got a question. Like, how'd you find it?
I was listening to Julian, and as he was telling the story, I was like, human fuel. I heard that. I heard him say the 3 Google people. I didn't know you were the third person he picked, right? So I heard him say, I need a nutritionist, and that's how I picked somebody. And then I'm the entrepreneur, so I'm listening to entrepreneurial content, right? He was on one of them podcasts, and I literally bought some product. It was cool. It was like the starter kit. Through the bar. Well, I tried the bar, wasn't my favorite. And then I just kept going, and then I like it.
Nice.
Good. That's good. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so yes, you've heard Julian's story on the podcast, which is good because he's very much the entrepreneur of the two of us, and his background is marketing, both sort of online marketing and brand marketing, and he's very skilled at that. And I'm the nutrition guy, really. So his idea and my sort of initial recipe. And that, by the way, was how the original white powder was born. We've changed the recipe a bit since we've updated it, but broadly speaking, it's very much the same as what we launched.
So let me ask you. This is a broad question, I guess, and you can speak for UK or America or the world. Why are people unhealthy? And not just why are people mostly unhealthy? Like, and I'm speaking like all of us, humans in general. If there was something you could point your finger at and say, this is the reason why most humans on this planet are unhealthy.
Yes, it is a very broad question.
Yeah, I know.
It's I get where you come from. Firstly, let's break this down. Okay. Look, things have changed in just the last 2 or 3 generations. And if you go back 100 years, life expectancy across the world wasn't 60, wasn't 50. It was late 30s or early 40s, right?
Right.
Because people weren't ill for very long. They got ill, they died. Now, because of this brilliance of medicine, and some people call this, medicine 2.0 that we're in at the moment, the era. Brilliance of that, you can treat people and keep them well. If you go to the doctors now and you've got some angina pains or whatever, they can be treated, and you can live another 20 years or whatever, in relative health. But there's also, and that's great, but also things have gone wrong. It depends how you look at it, right? So we've changed our eating habits, and this has happened in my lifetime significantly, and that we're eating. Look, we've got access to a broader range of food with longer shelf life. Comparative speaking, as a percentage of income, food is much more affordable in the West. We're just talking about the Western, so North America, Europe, and Australia and New Zealand, really. And so it's a lot more affordable here, but that comes with a bunch of other problems. Now, even if you go back to when my parents were young, if you weren't very well off, and they weren't very well off, families were thin. Now, a lot of people, if they're not very well off, there's a weight problem. It's the other way around. Now, that's due to a lot of reasons, and this is due to this is not just as inactivity. That's one thing. And then there's dietary choices, the choice of food. Now, I use the word choice very, very loosely. I realize, we're not always responsible for the choices we make. And I don't want to go down the philosophy route.
Right, no.
But, we're not, because some people are not. I'm very privileged, and I'm sure you guys are privileged as well, at least compared to other people. You know how to cook a meal, well, and because you were taught to, okay?
Right.
And you have got enough money to go and buy good food if you want to go on one of your fad diets.
That's true.
Yeah. And whereas
That's
other people aren't in that position, as a percentage of income. So there was some research done in the UK, and I'd imagine it's pretty similar in the US, but I don't know that for a fact. But I think it's something like since 2000, the rate of takeaway fast food establishments, takeout establishments that have sprung up in deprived areas or low income areas is far, far greater than in wealthier areas.
Right.
So and you think, well, because fast food, it's easy to make, its shelf life's long, the supply chain's simple. A lot of these are huge establishments with loads and loads of restaurants. So it's very cheap. You can go and get 600 calories for a couple of dollars, maybe. Okay, I'm not saying there's anything good calories, but they're high in the wrong sorts of fats, high in the wrong sorts of carbohydrates, low in fiber, low in protein, low in micronutrients, vitamins and minerals. And this is causing the problem. So that's the dietary side. There's lack of physical activity as well. The very fact that I've said you've only got to walk around the corner to these establishments, when our grandparents were young, it was like you had to go and get the food. At least
everybody was walking.
Farmers. Yeah. But there was more activity. Then there's stress, and stress is linked to bad health. Social media can play a role. That's not my area, but it's something that there's a conversation to be had. And people aren't sleeping enough as well, and that contributes. So there's a spiral of problems, and they are that the one thing is they're all resolvable.
Right.
You do need, of course, I'm not saying that everyone's not responsible for themselves. Far from it. You can be responsible, but it's easier for people like us than it is for a lot of other people. And this is where there needs to be. I mean, I don't want to get too political here. I know it's a left-right thing, and I'm very much apolitical. I don't have a stance. Government do need to intervene and make some sort of policies. Now, I'm not a nutrition policy maker, but I do know there are key things that what can only be done through Central.
It is now 2023, going on 2024. Why don't you have a VPN? Only for a limited time, go to piavpn.com/cyberbunny. You could get 83% off the PIA VPN. What is a VPN? VPN is basically software that's used to hide an end user information such as IP address, location, private data they may be transferring over the internet, identifiable information such as their devices they're using from being spied on, from hackers, governments, internet service providers, anybody out there who wants to steal your data for their own personal gain. That's basically what a VPN does. If you want to take advantage of this discount, go to piavpn.com/cyberbunny. Go there now, sign up, tell them I sent you, get your software, get it installed on your laptops, on your mobile phones, on your tablets, any device that connects to the internet, get it installed on there. Get protected, go now. That was my next question, actually. So like we was talking about the problem, right? Like people are unhealthy. Right, that's a fact.
Yeah.
If there was one thing you could change about policy, governmental interference, or anything, if you had, let's say you had the power to do one thing to improve the world's dietary choices and nutrition intake, what is it? Do you have something you can say? If there was one thing that I had the power to change, I would change this, and then hopefully that would make everybody more healthier as far as their diet.
I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to answer that twice. If that's okay.
Oh, you got two things. That's fine. We'll take
because they're unrelated, but there's a reason.
Okay.
So we've been the three of us sitting here. We've been talking about a group of people, basically Westerners. Mm-hmm. Okay. We're not talking about people in developing areas. So let's talk about that one first. So if I'm a policymaker in Europe, USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, South Korea, all those sort of developed nations, I would address pregnancy. I would make sure that pregnant mothers are getting the good access to good nutrition.
Okay.
Because that, not just for them, but that lays down the base for the kid for growing up. So we know there's a mental health crisis that is, obviously there's so much we could talk about here, but there is a nutrition link in that, but it doesn't begin in childhood. It certainly doesn't begin in adulthood. It begins with your mother. Now, this is where I go back to choice. You can't choose what your mother did, but certain nutrients. I mentioned choline, didn't we, as the 27th essential vitamin earlier. That's a key one for pregnancy, and people don't have enough of it. So, very cheap supplements. The government could give choline supplementation. They could give some sort of policy that would help fruit and veg intake, because a more diverse fruit and veg intake helps a bunch of nutrients, and also, the microbiome, the good bacteria in your gut, can help proliferate that they can produce nutrients that the body likes, but also fish oils, omega-3s, the good ones. Huel products are vegan, but are very high in certain omega-3s, but there could be some supplementation there as well. So, and there's so much more to talk about, but I'm just saying pregnancy would be one policy. Okay, it ain't going to help us a lot now, but it's certainly setting the foundation.
Set the foundation for the future. Because I honestly, I didn't think about that, and it does make sense, right? Like when life starts in the womb, in the mother, right? And you can start off on the right step if she has all the nutrients, minerals, vitamins, everything for the development of the fetus. I didn't even think about it. That's actually very insightful.
Yeah, and then the other one is, like, we've been very Westocentric this evening, but of course we are. There are still parts of the world where there is inadequate food, there is stunting, there is food poverty, and a different type of food poverty. Now, then nobody in the world at the moment need go without food. The reason it happens are political issues or war or some sort of supply chain economic issue. But there's more than enough to go around. But there are parts of the world where they don't have the correct, they might have enough calories, but again, they might be lacking in a micronutrient or an amino acid, which are the simplest units of protein. That's complex. I know there are certain charities and NGOs looking at this sort of thing, as are the WHO, but looking at it, it is not happening enough. And you can just look at heights of people, heights of children or adults, and you can see described in neighboring countries. I mean, obviously we don't have much access to North Korea, but we do know there is a significant height difference between the South and the North Koreans. So that's going to be linked to nutrition and stress as well. But you go to some African countries that are slightly more affluent. Some of the northern ones have got a bit than the sub-Saharan ones. So you can look at the height difference. So Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, Ghana, places like that. There is not the right sort of nutrition. I don't have the answers for that. That's not my area. It's something I'm hoping to be working on soon. But if we can get more nutrition get the nutrition to them, but just
have the same opportunities that Western society. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It's farming, really, agricultural methods to produce more than one crop, multiple crops.
So the two things, pregnant women and disenfranchised countries, get them nutrition and food that they should be able to have, everyone should have. No, I agree with that.
Yeah,
that's very insightful. Two things. Okay.
I think my headphones started tweaking. I thought my internet was going out, but I was kind of choppy. But I heard what you were saying, and I wanted to ask about. I wanted to say the optimal animals being optimal or optimized, right? So when you look at birds, the baby can't fly, they kick it out the nest, right? You look at lions, the nephews have to leave the pride, right? Humans, we can think, and we can think very hard and well, right? But we don't optimize for our species survival, right? So we have everything we need for particular food to grow, but it's enough information out there, money and resources for everybody to thrive in a particular way, right? And those food deserts I was kind of mentioning don't need to exist, but they do for a reason, right? And some of the foods that we have shouldn't exist for a reason, right? And they can make that stuff better, right? They can make that same stuff better, right? But they choose to make it worse, right? They choose to make it. And so I want to talk about the ESG, is it? that you said you're involved with. So like that's where I wanted to go, because it's clear that the food deserts for a reason, right? It's clear that some foods are pushed to certain people in areas for a reason, right? So talk about your ESG mission.
Okay, so ESG, so that for people that are listening in and haven't heard that term, it stands for Environment, Social Governance. Mm-hmm. It's very much a business term. It's the sort of, your ESG metrics are things that investors, policymakers talk about, and they're trying to disseminate it into a sort of so companies take ESG seriously. So it's all the good stuff. So we've already ticked the nutrition box, right? Because that's what we do. So that's part of it. But it's making sure that your environmental credentials, right? Like obviously carbon springs to mind, and greenhouse gases, making sure you're not adversely affecting climate change. But and that goes from everything to how you run your manufacturing plants, your supply chain, the people. But there's also things like the social things, like diversity, enough representation from all groups across the business where it's applicable, accessibility, and there's so many different metrics. So that's all ESG. So now when we developed Huel originally, we thought we would develop it to be suitable for vegans, because we knew that, this is 8 years ago, right? And I come from a nutrition background, by the way. Sustainability is something I've learned in the last few years. I'm not, I've had to get more knowledgeable, but I'm not an expert, to put that caveat in. But we knew that plant-based was becoming a thing. And so we made Huel products plant-based, as long as they've got the adequate nutrition in there, which we've addressed because we looked at the protein and everything. But we didn't back then quantify that we were, that we were sustainable. We knew we were, but we didn't put any metrics behind it. So in the last few years, we've got a sustainability director that works for the company, and she's got a lot of experience in the food industry. And through that, we can measure the carbon of different ingredients and our products. We've recently become a B Corp. Do you guys know what that is, or shall I explain for the listeners?
I haven't heard that. Yeah, no, I'm not sure.
So a B Corp is an internationally recognized accreditation that it's kind of the main ESG accreditation that's recognized worldwide. Basically, you have to get a certain amount of points to become a B Corp. And if you do, then you've kind of set your bottom bar. That's just where you begin. Every couple of years, you have to do more and more stuff. So it was only a couple of months ago we got our B Corp status. Nice. It took us, it's a really tough audit. I mean, these guys were tough on us, right? But that's good.
All the guys,
yeah. So you can, and any company can apply to be a B Corp and get it. They don't have to be. We had it quite easy because we do nutritionally complete foods that are sustainable and with low carbon. But there's all the other stuff we had to do as well.
Right.
But a lot of companies are doing it, and I think it's good because there's a lot of. I think a lot's changed since the pandemic. Really, you go back to 2018, 2019. People were talking about this stuff, but I think with COVID, it focused people's minds on the health of the world and other stuff. So when they were all bored at home, they started thinking, well, maybe I'll talk about all the investors here and the investment banks and the all the wealthy people. They think, well, maybe with my money or the money that I influenced other people's money, maybe we should be investing in climate funds or other funds that are not destructive. So this is why there are other reasons why people invest in businesses other than just making money. But of course, they've got to make money. But the good thing is, with ESG credentials and B Corp, makes you very investable. So the fact you're investable means that it supports the growth of the company, which means they do get it. This is where capitalism comes in. I'm just balancing the scales here. I did a bit of left wing talking a few minutes ago. Now I'm doing a bit more.
It's all the same. No, we don't do that here. Yeah, it's all good.
But this is where capitalism comes in to try and align the market to try and push forward ESG and all the good stuff. Is it perfect? Far from it. But at least it's shunting businesses in the right direction. And I think that's.
I agree. I agree. No, that makes sense.
Hi, I'm King Arthur, founder of Novel Views Tech, where we prepare children aged 10 to 17 for a future shaped by advanced technology. Our curriculum dives into fields like robotics, nanotechnology, quantum computing, and more. But what really brings learning to life are our bi-monthly, Exploring the Future of Technology webinars, hosted by industry experts. These webinars aren't just lectures, they're interactive discussions that connect your child to the pulse of the tech world, creating a learning experience that goes beyond the classroom. We offer a money-back guarantee to ensure you're completely satisfied. Equip your child with the skills to not just adapt, but to innovate and lead in the future. Join us at Novel Views, Tech and let's build their future, today.
So is that why the vending machines are out now? I've seen you guys are now doing vending machines. Am I wrong? Or
Yeah, we've got the
okay.
vending machines. So we're in Heathrow Airport was our first. We've got a few railway stations and other airports in the UK. I think we're coming to one of the New York
Oh, nice.
airports soon. I'm not sure which I think JFK or whatever it is, but the vending machines for the bottled fuel should be hopefully taking over the world.
I can't wait. I want to see it. I'll fly to New York just to get to it.
Well, how
I'm
about we
from
just
New
try to
York.
get them to get one into DC because it's much closer.
That's true.
Yeah,
Which-
I'll have a word with the
DC
guys.
has a lot of people coming through there, bro.
That's true. Norfolk too. I mean, I guess we're in Virginia.
Yeah,
So
we're in Virginia, so
yeah, I can't wait to try it. I'm gonna try. I definitely want to try.
hold on before you do it. Use my referral code, bro.
Okay,
I'm trying to get that discount.
send it to me. Send it to
That's
me.
what they're there for. Yeah,
Yeah. Send
Yeah,
it
I'm
to
gonna
me.
send you my link.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it. I don't know. I feel like I want to try the I want to fast. I've been talking about fasting for a while.
Okay.
As a nutritionist, I'm sure you can talk about the benefits of fasting. But like detox, get the junk out, stop eating, and maybe not meal replace, but what was it again?
Complete food.
Complete food, right? Go fast and then eat the heal stuff. That's what I'm gonna try. I gotta lose weight. If you can, if there was something you could recommend from your product line, is there a specific fat burning product, or is it just they all work? You just gotta, work out.
There was so a lot of people like the black edition powder
Okay.
because it's higher in protein and it's lower in carbs. It's not massively low carb. It's not a keto product, right? I mean, you could get keto with it, but it's more complicated. But it's not designed as a keto product. But it is higher in protein, and protein is more satiating than the other macronutrients. Plus, there's the fiber as well. That's satiating.
Mm-hmm.
But what I mean by that is you just get full up quicker, which is great because that's what you want. And if you've had a 400 calorie Huel meal and you've got all the nutrients you need, well, maybe that can hold you over for the next few hours.
Nice. Yeah, and I'm gonna try the black edition. I will definitely try it.
Yeah, I like this. The cinnamon one is cool. The powders, the cookies and cream. So, like I said, I buy them so often, so I got it. I just can't keep buying the chocolate. It is good too, right? So, we got to keep a variety of them. But yeah.
So I think last question. You want to do the last question, quick, King?
Oh yeah. There you go.
Let's go.
What one thing you want to figure out moving forward, right? So we talked about what you guys are kind of doing now and what you've done in the past, right? So what is one thing you're trying to figure out now?
What are we trying to figure out? As a business, we're trying to expand into other regions. So the moment we're Europe, USA, and Japan primarily.
Nice.
We will be doing more. We'll be focusing on more of the other European countries. Although any one European country can buy it, we haven't kind of focused on them. So we're going to do that. We are looking at maybe Canada soon as well, because supply chain wise, it's quite easy because it's over the border. We make some of our powders, for instance, are made in the USA. So there is there. So, but also new products. We launched a product in the USA a few months ago called Daily Greens, which is basically our greens powder. So it's vitamin and mineral rich. It's flown in America. We don't have it in the UK. We did it with you guys first. And so we're working on a UK version of that, which will be a slightly different recipe for various reasons. Some of them legislative and some of them supply chain. But also, we've just launched a product over here in the UK, Daily A to Z Vitamins, which is got all the essential vitamins and minerals and fiber, and it's a carbonated drink in a can. We're working on a US version for that. So we're doing a swap. We're having your product over here and you having our product over there. So that's those two products really working. Slightly different recipes, but broadly the same.
I seen the water. So I think I seen the water, and I was like, I can't get that. They don't ship it here.
Yeah, I was promoting it on my own social media.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm looking.
And I think I want to try the greens too. I haven't tried the greens either, but I think I should. What about partnerships and influencers and brand partnerships? You guys
Ooh,
into
good
that?
question. Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got certain influencers we use. I don't get involved in that side so much, but we do use a lot of online influencers. We're sponsoring. I mean, do you know Louis Theroux is? He's a British guy who does documentaries, but he has done some American stuff. So he's been on Joe Rogan as a guest a few times. So he's not just known over here, but we're sponsoring his own podcast now. Do you know who the hardest geezer is? The guy running down Africa at the moment as we speak.
No.
Hardest geezer?
Hardest geezer. He's a British guy. He's running down Africa from top to bottom. And he'll probably be doing it right now. I don't know where he is, but follow him on social media. It's worth it. And we're supporting him. He's obviously getting a massive following because of what he's doing.
Right.
And a few others as well. So yeah, we do partnerships like that. Not the side. Nice. I'm more involved in the product, nutrition, and ESG side of the business.
Right. No, that's nice. Definitely gonna look these people up. They seem like they doing
Brody been running for 138 days.
And I'm sure he's drinking a lot of Huel to get through that.
Yeah. In fact, we weren't sponsoring him at the beginning because we hadn't heard about him until he'd been running for a few days.
Right.
But yeah, it's and then we've got you might have heard of Stephen Bartlett, who runs Diary of a CEO podcast, really big over here in America. He's an investor in Huel, so we sponsor his podcast. And then Idris Elba, the actor, he's also an investor with us, and as is his wife Sabrina. And then there's a couple of others in the UK you probably haven't heard of.
Right. No, we definitely got some homework to do.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna try this daily greens. Like me and my wife, we do the green stuff. We do cold press juices, often. So I'm definitely looking into that. Definitely interested in that. But yeah, no, it's very informative. Definitely great talking with you. I need your code, bro. I need your send me your code after we get offline. I'm gonna get some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Did you have any questions for us? Did you have any?
Yeah, I haven't really not got any questions in particular. I've just it's been a pleasure talking to you guys.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much.
Great pleasure to talk to you, and lovely conversation. And I shall be going to bed now.
Right. What time is it over there?
10 o'clock.
It's coming up to 10 o'clock, but I've got to be up at 5:30 tomorrow. So
wow.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
life of an entrepreneur, right?
yeah.
Right.
It's cool. It's cool. Pleasure. And great talking to you. And if you guys get any nutrition questions or Huel questions in particular, I'm happy to help.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
If any of your audience want to get in touch, they can follow me on social media.
Oh, we didn't do that. Yeah. What is your socials? What's your website? What's your personal socials? So if anybody want to get in touch, that's usually a question we ask. We just forgot.
Yeah. So the Huel socials are at Huel on all the main channels. Then Huel.com for the products. Website. And there's also a bunch of information there as well. Personally, you can find me on Instagram as James Collier, that's COLLIER, RNUTR, that's an abbreviation for registered nutritionist, and that's what I'm on Instagram. Then people can find me on LinkedIn. I've got my own Substack, blogs on Substack. That's the same. It's the same there, and they're the main channels really.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I appreciate you, man. It was definitely a shot in the dark. Me reaching out. I said, man, this guy is probably gonna say no, but I could reach out to a lot of people.
No, it's a pleasure. I enjoy doing this. You're having I always think, well, it's great talking on podcasts because you meet different people, and the worst that happens is you have a nice conversation with nice people. There's no downside.
That's right.
There is no downside.
Yeah, Frank, it's definitely of substance over everything else over here. You know what I'm talking about?
Right. Yeah. Quality over quantity. I don't know.
Quality over quantity. Well, we got some quality too.
Yeah, one of those things.
All right, we out of here, man.
Thank you so much. Have a good night. We will definitely be in touch.
Good to talk.
All right. Have a good one.
Yeah, bye-bye.